No, I'm just kidding. I enjoy that. I've always enjoyed that hat. Yeah. Good morning. Hmm. We had a floater there. I'm just gonna put that there. All right, we're good.
So, any update on Braylon Sanders? Hopefully not too serious, but do you know if it's long term yet with his leg injury yesterday?
No, it was. We were fortunate. It was a lower body injury that didn't produce any structural damage. So, fortunately, expect him back not today or tomorrow, but in the foreseeable future, hopefully next week or something like that. But we'll see how it goes.
How is Mike White doing? And is he the likely starter for the next Dolphins game?
Is the game today? He's had a really cool couple weeks, just getting used to everything. The quarterback position, you're in charge of the ball every play, and you have to tell everyone their assignment. So there's a lot that goes into that, which is one of the numerous reasons that I reserve judgment, because I'm, such a level-minded, adult, mature guy. And with him, his personality off the bat, he exuded quarterback confidence and really developed relationships with his teammates. And you've seen a steady progression of more and more plays and more confidence to operate within the timing of our specific offense. So he's doing a good job as it relates to the preseason game. There's still a hardy practice today. And again, I like to let the players determine things on the field. Whoever does play before the other player in the preseason game from the quarterback position, that won't suggest that person is going to be to his backup. It will be based upon the reps, opportunities, what we think is best for the guys, and then in true competition form, it will probably flop the next week. So,
Mike, after watching the film or video, what did you think of your offense yesterday in practice? What did you like? What would you like to see improved today?
I mean, if the goal is average, then I was super pumped. I really like joint practices for the sake of I want everyone's best effort. The tricky thing about it is, and as I've learned over the course of my career, so what if the offense had the greatest practice in the history of all practices? Or the opposite happens, it's the worst practice. What does that mean for today? And that's kind of my point, is there was stuff that irritated me. There was stuff that pumped me up. We did physically strain through some heat against a new opponent. The main focus to me was that practice purposeful? How do you make it purposeful? Your approach today, and it's not the same mistakes. That we have procedural penalties. I'm hoping to not have any today. If we have some, as long as it's not the guys that did it the day before, I can work with that. It's when yesterday was a waste, then it's a bigger issue. So, I was happy that we worked. For where we're trying to go, I shouldn't be really happy with any practice in terms of we're good. It's not like that. Last year we Philly is a great example. We practiced against Philly, and that was the first time offensively that I think that we felt all 11 people executing simultaneously. And, no one scores a practice, but if you guys were to say, hey, they won that day, it wouldn't sound crazy. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl. We did not. But that was a very important practice for us because it was the first time that we clicked, I thought, and it led into the first drive of the preseason game. So yesterday, I like the fact that guys were straining and very annoyed at the result. That means we're in a good spot. I'm going to just keep going for the next half an hour. And so anyway, today's practice is more important than last.
Mike, along those lines, when you look at year one and year two, I don't know if you want to characterize it as growing pains or whatever, but do you see, compared to previous teams that you've been on, kind of grow from year one to year two, do you feel like this offense is kind of on that similar pace? Are they behind the pace of their ahead of schedule? How would you characterize it?
I think in year two, relative to other teams I've been on, I would say overall, I'm happy with it. So it's somewhere close to what I was hoping for. Again, that means that last year there was a lot of you almost needed an interpreter because the language it was hard to kind of communicate within our own language, and it was some of the overall philosophical details of technique we were having to sell on guys. Now they can answer the test. Now they know when it's not good enough. Now they have an expectation. I would say I'm very pleased with where we're at right now. It's an incomplete story. So in terms of being from year one to year two, I expected to be much better. I feel like it is, but that means nothing if we just take steps backwards for the next 2 weeks.
Mike, going back to the procedural thing for a second, I'm sure it drives fans crazy. I'm sure it must drive coaches crazy. Beyond the obvious, wait for the snap. Beyond telling players that, what are some maybe unseen things, not so obvious things you can do to alleviate those kind of things?
Well, you have to. The non-obvious things is you have to create atmospheres where they're in conflict of complete immersion into their plan for the play and adhering to the number one most fundamental part of being a part of an offense. So it's that conviction in assignment, that competitiveness, because that's what nobody wants to jump off sides. And we couldn't have emphasized it more this offseason in terms of this is what it is. The facts are the facts. You're the worst. I'm the worst. That's what it is. So every time we false start, everyone's it's not something that people are very comfortable with or pumped about. The point is to figure out the whys behind it, and generally, across the board, the guy that jumps or that false starts wasn't about to execute a lazy play. So we have to continue to do that, and continue to, I show it in front of the team, and no one's fired up about it. You pride yourself as coach to produce a clean product for the fans to watch, and our objective is to go forward, not backward, in a non-competitive manner. So that focus, hey, do you want to be good? All this work we do, you try to put it in that perspective, but we're very aware that, we're on the heels of being the worst, so that's not acceptable. We'll continue to work through it. There are days that are good, but it doesn't matter if there's quarters that are good. If you're jumping or if you're false starting 3 times in the fourth quarter, you know what I mean? So it's something we'll continue to get work at, and it's not going to go away. As long as you guys have your eyes open, you'll be able to see how we're doing.
Like, I'm sure there's a lot of things you have to do better than spending time on Twitter. But last night there was a back and forth.
What's Twitter?
X, I believe it's called now.
Oh, okay, yeah. What was that?
Jalen Ramsey and Dr. David Chow, formerly of the Chargers, had a back and forth about Jalen, and I think the quote was, "It's basically a tall task to ask Jalen Ramsey to ever be Jalen Ramsey again after that surgery." I wanted to get your reaction. If I guess is the assumption whenever he does return, he'll be back to the player he was.
I mean, I would hesitate to boldly tell Jalen Ramsey what he's going to be. I don't think that's in his mind at all. I don't have in my profession or my job, I don't have the time to look at X. But I'm also, I got bigger fish to fry. But no, we're not even worried about what it looks like at the end. We're worried about appropriately handling the present, because you stack that stuff up, and those things will be determined by things that aren't mine nor X in the and whatever is going on there that's outside of our control. So I'm good with where he's at, and I'm very happy that I saw him yesterday, crutchless.
What's your assessment on competition at left guard right now? Do you view it as the one position that is still up in the air to determine that best 5 up front?
No, I think that's you have to earn certain things. I think that we do have a good amount of NFL players that have the ability to play in the interior line. So competition brings out the best in everyone. I think that the people that, and that's really our objective every offseason, is to, with the resources available, try to maximize that competition. I think I wouldn't say anything concrete, except that we're fortunate to have some players worthy to compete to start an NFL football game. And not every team can say that. So I'm happy with the way the guys are attacking it. Specifically, yesterday there was some really good play at times, and from both guard positions on every little rep that we had. And there were some plays that weren't that good. So it's a tremendous day today to go out and see how guys respond, and those types of things are going to determine every position on the offense and defense, as it should be on the grass.
Coach, today is National Book Day. Other than the playbook,
Yeah.
What's your favorite book to read?
Oh, well, that was kind of set under the guise that I reread stuff. But my favorite book, when you say it off the rip, is Talented is Overrated. I read it in like 2000. Let's call it 11, 12, or 13, one of those. And Deliberate Practice. Have you ever heard me say deliberate? And yeah, that's where I got it from. So that's probably my favorite book.
Mike, how do you balance, when you have these joint practices, balancing testing out things you want to see in the offense, especially because it's predicated on timing, so you get to practice against an opponent who maybe hasn't seen it. How do you balance that with not showing all your cards.
No, it's something that you have to kind of be forward thinking. I'm very aware when we have fan days of technology. I'm very aware of stadium practices. I'm very aware of joint practices. There's a balance, and for me, I'm less secretive than I think I would have thought I would have been early in my career, just because, they if the offense is constructed the right way, everything has a counter to it. So at this point, we have to get good at stuff. I probably hide less, but there's definitely stuff that you don't want to put on tape, especially if you're ironing the kinks out of it. So it's a fun balance, but for the most part, we're just trying to create situations that are competitive within offense that we do, so that with the idea being you get to evaluate guys, and guys are put in difficult positions like a game, or hopefully more difficult positions.
Mike, the running backs had some good moments yesterday. I'm wondering what your take is on that room right now, and if there's any changes in the philosophy on how you might utilize them.
No, I think I really feel good about the whole running back room. The people and the players give us the capability to do a lot, and to have fresh players on the field carrying the ball. Each dude has a different little niche within the offense, but all of them are capable of. They all know the entire offense, and they all are capable of running the ball. Some guys have some pass skill sets that we can utilize, and some guys have really developed their pass skill sets this offseason. And I think there's strength in versatility. I think anytime a defense is able to take something off their plate in terms of variance, it gives them a more convicted way to defend, if you would. So I think those variables, when guys have the ability to do various things, run the ball, protect, and run routes, it's a less easier matchup, and makes kind of dictates the terms sometimes for defensive personnel. So the depth and the varied skills, I would say, are a strength of our team.
Like, we heard Tyreek and Jalen, I think yesterday, talk about the little internal competition in the wide receiver room. Like, they're broken up into little fire teams. I was curious if that's something that you've ever had on your teams before, and what that kind of internal competition can help.
No, I haven't, and it's phenomenal. You have guys straining to compete. I just thought it was a really cool idea from the get-go. Rarely do you have two elite players in the same room like that, and so instead of worrying about semantics that I could forecast, I haven't been around that before, but semantics of things of greediness, or I want X, Y, or Z. I think it really showcases how, okay, we're going to use this. Let's create teams. Yeah, the leader of each team is probably going to get the most, but let's compete and see how collectively we can do something that's typically not thought of a team. Like, catches and receptions are an individual stat that they're now making a team. I think that's exactly what you'd hope and want. And that any competition is where you turn Tyreek to cheetah. So I think that his teammates are learning that, and what does that do? That makes Jalen Waddle better and the whole room better. And I think we're benefiting from those results. And they run a lot and do a lot of, and they block, and they're a part of everything in the offense. So you better have an edge to make and each and every day. And if that helps them, if they want me to throw apples and oranges to them, I'll do that. Everything's on the table, but I'm happy with that group and that culture that they're creating down there.
Thanks, Mike.
Stay hydrated.